Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash, Barakata. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video. And I'm going to be using an article from activistpost.com, and the title reads, First Generation of Autonomous Killer Bots Ready to Seek Out and Destroy Invasive Fish. This brings you to my first precept in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And you've got the spiritual demon Satan, as well as his physical counterpart, which are the Edomites, or so-called white people. And we're not ignorant of the devices of Satan or Esau, because this article is going to be speaking about the humanitarian benefits of drones, but we know that those drones are really meant for war, chiefly to come against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the true children of Israel, but above that, to come after the men of GMS or Great Millstone, or the brothers that come in the spirit of GMS, because we're the true men of the Lord. We're the prophets on the highways and byways pushing that vibration of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, which is bringing Esau's kingdom to an end, and the elites know that, so they're about to come down on us with great wrath, because they don't want to go into that 1,000 years of hardcore bondage or slavery. But there's nothing you can do about it, Esau. You've just about reached the bounds which you cannot pass. In 1984, the movie Terminator brought to life the dark dystopian fantasy of killer robots designed to ruthlessly hunt down human targets and destroy them. We've come a long way since then, and in the last 15 years, drone aircraft have been deployed by the military, although as far as we know, these still require a human being to pull the trigger before bombing whatever target has been selected for elimination. And they've got autonomous killer robots and drones that have their own AI programs that allow them to take actions of their own volition. That's mainly what they're going to be using during martial law, to fight in contested areas or in the neighborhoods of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because it's much easier for them to sacrifice a drone than one of their human soldiers. Meanwhile, Boston Dynamics has been steadily revolutionizing the warbot, preparing them for deployment against humans at some point, and their products are downright terrifying. Nevertheless, we still have not yet entered the era of autonomous killer robots being unleashed against human beings, and we're quickly approaching that era. The time of Jacob's trouble is at the door, when all hell's going to break loose all around the world. That said, oceanographic researchers are lauding the development of a new autonomous robot that will be released into the open sea and programmed to seek out and destroy species of invasive fish. The bots in question in this case are designed to hunt down lionfish, which have inadvertently been released into the Atlantic Ocean and are causing significant harm to dozens of species of native fish and to coral reefs. And as I said earlier, they're selling these drones as a benefit to humanity. I mean, you've got people that buy commercial drones from the store and use them to make GoPro videos. This is how they're easing them into society and making people used to them, so when things start popping off, they won't be so alarmed when they see those drones, and they're only going to start to panic once those drones start taking people out. In a headline from Popular Mechanics magazine, the leap into a new age of automatic killing is phrased as an act of saving something else, which in a way it is. However, the language being used foreshadows a soon coming day when autonomous bots will be released to ostensibly save one group of human beings from another, and that one group of human beings to be saved from another, speaking of those Edomites who want to save themselves from you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because Esau has had a perpetual hatred for Jacob. And this brings me to my next precept in Genesis chapter 27. I'm going to start at verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And who's living in the best places on the earth right now, living off the labor of these other nations of people? The Edomites. They're in their rulership right now, so they're controlling the world. and the dew of the heaven above is speaking of their satellites. Just remember recently Trump was talking about creating that Space Force, verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Another major part of Esau's blessing is the sword. And who has the best military out there? Bar none, the Edomites, or the so-called white people, which these drones are a part of. And shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And that's why these so-called white people hate you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because you're the true children of Israel who got the blessing of the covenant and the kingdom of heaven, so they're going to do anything they can to take you out. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. See? And what did it just say in that article? The language being used foreshadows a soon coming day when autonomous bots will be released to ostensibly save one group of human beings from another. And these Edomites know their time's up. They can feel it in their spirit, and they can see it all around with their low birth rates and the high suicides, and their people addicted to opioids, as well as these other nations of people migrating into their country. So they're about to come down in great wrath, and especially on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And we need the divine protection of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua to take us out of these coming calamities, because there's no way 2/3 of you Jakes are going to fight Esau carnally. His blessing is the sword. Now, doesn't that sound nice? And throughout the press release for the project, the act of killing a lionfish is referred to as harvesting the lionfish, which also sounds so nice, implying something kinder and gentler than seek and destroy. And that just goes to show how much of a devil Esau is, and devil simply means deceiver. Esau likes to hide his true intentions through newspeak and politically correct terminology. But if you're a man of the Lord and the Spirit, you can see all through Esau's BS. Developed by graduate students and researchers at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, the new robot is designed to identify the target fish and kill it with a miniature robotic spear gun. Salakia. It will glide along coral reefs, scanning all the fish it comes into contact with, and use AI and machine learning to hopefully identify and neutralize only its target species. That's how a lot of these military projects start. You have these college students at, say, MIT or what's it say here, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, making all these devices because they think they're going to save humanity with it. But then the Edomite military-industrial complex gets a whiff of it, takes it, and starts seeing what military applications they can use that technology for. And then eventually they use it against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because since Esau has that perpetual hatred for you Jakes, anything he does in order to get rid of you. It's like an artificially intelligent Salak. I'll just skip this part and get to the meat of the issue. They just kind of repeat themselves on how this robot works. On the surface, it sounds innocuous enough, as we all do love the thrill of technology advancement, but just as with any new technological development, any lessons learned from the research will be snatched up and put to use by the defense industry, which will turn them against human beings. How long will it be before an environmental solution is developed to rid the world of unwanted people? And by this point, you should know who those unwanted people are. And once this cat is out of the bag, how long will it be before the first rogue robot goes on an accidental killing spree? The students also showed the system pictures of what it absolutely must not aim at, namely divers, and eventually these drones are going to be shown pictures of so-called black and brown faces, their new targets. As research in this sector continues at full speed, there are a few voices calling for caution, most notably the organization Campaign to Stop Killer Robots. The following clip is from a short film revealing the already realized potential of killer robots. And they got a pretty good clip here I'm going to show. And just remember, These drones they're showing here is what they had about 20 to 30 years ago. They're not showing what they really have and what they're going to do, what they're going to use during a state of martial law. Those Terminator kill bots.
It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors. It does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents.
And you can't tell me that Esau isn't the so-called white man. This is his blessing, the sword right here. This is what a lot of you two-thirds can expect to happen to you during Jacob's trouble. You really think you're going to go against Esau and his blessing carnally. Final thoughts. This is a harbinger of bad things to come, as once the notion of releasing autonomous killer robots into the wild becomes normalized, and warfare against whomever becomes autonomous, there will be no way to avert this tragedy and horror. What will happen when human beings lose control over the human force and the world is set ablaze by armies of killer robots? And they put this stuff in the movies for you jakes, and you still don't get it. Just remember that recent Purge movie. It happened on that little part of Staten Island where the majority of the people that dwelt there were jakes, or you so-called Negroes and Latinos, and they had drones in that movie, armed drones that were attacking and killing people. Esau's not playing around. This brings me to my next precept in Psalm chapter 17, verse 13. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which are the Edomites or so-called white people, as pursuant to Malachi 1 verse 4, which is thy sword, his blessing. So the only way we're going to be able to make it out of these coming calamities of Jacob's trouble is if we have that protection of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai over us. There's no way you're going to beat Esau without it. And the only people that have any chance of that protection are the elect, the 144,000 and righteous 1/3, which the 144,000 are a part of, those Israelites that have heard this new song and have come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And I'm going to close it off in 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 70 through 71. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, that time of Jacob's trouble. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. And those madmen are speaking of those NATO troops and those mercenaries or U.S. troops or what have you. And they're definitely going to be using these drones to come after us. So as you brothers can see, we're damn near at the end of this thing. Things are going to pop off at any second, so we just have to stay prayed up, fast, and keeping these scriptures and keep pushing this word as hard as we can until that time comes. So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will keep that protection over us. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim out there were edified. I'm going to say a Baba Ball, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.